Hi, my name's Daniel Watkins. I'm the head chef of the Anchor in Hullbridge.
Roast and braised suckling pig belly, roast carrot puree, roasted heritage carrots, carrot ketchup, and a carrot and walnut pesto. The pig is slowly cooked overnight, then pressed, and to order is roasted off in a pan until crispy, finished with a beer honey. Roasted carrot puree is what it said it is carrots roasted really well, pureed, and a little Bernardette butter's added and beer vinegar. The heritage carrots are sous vide'd with a little vinegar and butter, and then just simply charred to order. The carrot ketchup is the juice, lots of juice of the carrot, cooked down with Worcester sauce, beer vinegar, sherry vinegar, and set with a little agar and pureed. And finally, the carrot and walnut pesto is a basic pesto style recipe using raw carrots and roasted walnuts.
The catchment area where you can actually hear who's going to make a booking through that, or just be aware of what you're actually doing. It's you can't beat that. 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't be doing this now. It wouldn't happen. You'd have to pay a photographer to take pictures of your food. It would have to go through the lengthy process of putting it on the internet. And where now everything's just so freely available, you'd be a fool not to be using it.
Now, for those chefs out there who think you have a personal photographer, maybe you can reveal the secret to your own photography and the fantastic images that we see on Instagram and Twitter.
Very good line, and it's beaten up iPhone 5.
Beaten up iPhone 5, chef. So I think if Dan can do it, then I think the whole industry can get to grips with their iPhone 5.
I mean, photography is something I've always been interested in. Especially food, but it's something that I think that the food that we do here, though it's very simple, it's very, we don't try not to mess around with things too much, and because the produce hasn't been messed around with too much, and it is quite, it is very, very simple, that when we do take pictures of it, it makes it a lot easier.
Next is the crab mayonnaise with a cauliflower pakora, some pickled cauliflower, roast cauliflower puree, a little Bombay mix, and some raw compressed apple, pineapple, and cucumber. Crab mayonnaise is simply picked white crab meat bound together with mayonnaise, lemon juice, and seasoning. Cauliflower pakora, we take little florets of cauliflower and drop them into a lightly spiced batter with curry powder, and just simply fry them off until they're crispy. The cucumber, apple, pineapple are all just very simply compressed, adding a nice freshness to the dish. And finally, the roast cauliflower puree is roasted cauliflower till it's very, very caramelized, pureed with Bernardette butter and seasoning.
What's very strong here, and what we do like to do is very simple things like venison, Scotch eggs, and mushroom ketchup, which there's not a great deal of skill involved, but it's something that's really beautiful.
Well, your food, I've just had the opportunity of having a little menu tasting, and it's flavour, and like for the last God knows how long, I've always defined good food as how you apply technique and retain flavour. So a lot of chefs out there have over technique, like all the flavour falls off it and you get something thin. Whereas I think what you're saying, and I agree with you, is that by keeping it simple, you're actually preserving, you know, some really sharp flavours.
I think what's helped, certainly in the last couple of years, is where food has just exploded again into another kind of I think everything's been made a lot easier. I mean, my job's been made a lot easier because we're starting to stop. We're not fussing so much, and we're concentrating more on. And what's made this really, you know, really enjoyable now is focusing a lot more on the projects that's coming in, what we can do with that in terms of how we're going to cook it, any techniques that can improve what we're doing with it, rather than disguising or hiding what we're doing with it, and just letting it kind of naturally do what it needs to do. Sometimes we apply some cool techniques to things, you know. I'd say more with desserts and things like that, to give the element of surprise that there's a little something hidden, you know, flavours and things like that. But the majority of the time is trying to keep things how they should be.
Yeah.
But we're concentrating on you know, the flavour and what's meant to be going on with this dish.
How many chefs in your kitchen?
Should be 11.
Right. Okay.
We're 9. Right. And it's kind of, unfortunately, with the industry and with everybody out there, it's just you're always looking for that holy grail chef de party.
Absolutely.
But yeah, during the summer we're 11. We've been 9 through Christmas now. So unfortunately, it's very difficult to get that skill set in the kitchen. Yeah, and it's a tight little team. The majority of the guys now have been with me a long time now. The majority of them have been here since we started, which is good.
Okay.
Roast hand-dyed scallops, burn Arzette hollandaise, apple, bacon jam, bacon crumble, cow and hazelnut. The scallops are very simply blanched until nicely caramelised, a little seasoning and lemon juice. Burn Arzette hollandaise, some caramelised apple puree, bacon jam, which is kind of a form of jam. It's using isomalt bacon fat, some chopped bacon. The bacon that we're using is a Dingley Dell dry cured bacon, which we also use for the crumb. We also use some roasted hazelnuts on this dish as well as frying off some crisp curly cow and just breaking that down into a powder. The cow with the apple, the hazelnuts and the scallops works really well together.
Okay. What's your views on education at the moment in colleges?
I think there's more that could probably be done, in the sense of there's a lot of guys out there really. I mean, I know the cultures do a really good job and they're really pushing with some of the side projects that they do, getting the kids involved, like competitions with the other colleges and things like that. I think that side of things is really starting to get bigger and bigger. But I still think there's more that we could probably do, in the sense that going back to almost basics with not so much apprenticeships, but yeah, the day releases, getting those kids into getting them in for the day, getting them some real life experience of what kitchen's all about, and maybe kind of working on that a bit more, because you don't really see much of that these days.
What would if you walked into a college on the first day of the first year of a chef's induction, what would you say to a class of complete newbies?
You've got to really enjoy what you do. It's not the kind of industry, or it's not the job. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, then you need to look at something else, because the hours, the workload, the stress, you've got to have a passion and an interest in what you're doing, and it makes it so much easier, because it does require a lot of hard work, and whether you're a small gastro pub or whether you're a fine dining restaurant, in order to be successful, and I don't mean in the sense of accolades, but in the way of having a successful business, is that it's going to require hard work and a real interest and a passion for doing it, and they're the sort of places that do well.
And you've been in the trade now for over 20 years. Is that?
It's about 20 years now. Yeah.
Yeah. Like time flies.
Yeah.
Do you have any views on the guides?
I do think they're very much a good thing. I wouldn't. I don't come to work or put dishes together or put menus together for the guides. It's something that when that comes along, that's fantastic. That's great. It is a bit of recognition for what you're doing. For me personally, it's been a part of a very busy team, a busy restaurant, a successful business. That's where kind of that's kind of where my accolades come from. But I think they do play a big part in this industry. It's just how you, I suppose, where that lies in what you do with it. Whether it's going to be a driving force for you or whether it's something that is useful. It is useful. It is great, but it's certainly not for forefront of your mind kind of thing.
First up is a smoked local pheasant breast, hay and rapeseed mayonnaise, pumpkin jam, some burnt apple puree, and roasted hazelnuts. Local pheasant from just across the river. It's been brined, the crown's been roasted and then lightly smoked. Mayonnaise, basic recipe, but using virgin rapeseed oil that's been infused by hay. Sweet spiced pumpkin jam, burnt apple puree using Braeburn apples, a little vanilla, roasting until it's very caramelised, and just simply some roasted hazelnuts.
A couple of quick fire questions. If I gave you £500 to go and dine anywhere in the UK, where would you go?
Sabanes or Lapun.
If I gave you £1,000 to dine abroad, where would you go?
Noma. Or Real.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Favourite knife?
I have two. I have Nesmuk and Max. I've been using Max for quite some time now. So my bread and butter knives are my Max, and I recently bought a Nesmuk.
Tell me an ingredient at the moment that excites you.
Ox cheek.
Ox cheek, fantastic.
Yeah, it's just gone onto the menu. I love cheeks, towels. It's a Noma, a take on the Noma recipe, but we toast hay for a couple of hours. That goes in the bags with the ox cheeks, and then we just gently sous vide them, and they're really nice and tender. And then we just finish them off with roasting juice and stuff. But I don't think you can beat ox cheeks.
No, it's great. I mean, at this time of year.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
What's the coolest technique you've developed recently?
That's a tough one. I suppose the one technique that we've started using, or we've started using heavily, is that we've started making our own beer vinegar.
Beer vinegar.
It's an adapted recipe from Deal, the book North, a fantastic book. But it's such a great seasoning. We do use that a lot in the seasoning now, rather than traditional pepper and whatnot. Our suckling pigs are finished with vinegar. We make a beer honey, so we're using the beer vinegar and reducing it down with the honey, so that then finishing dishes. We sometimes finish earthier fish dishes with the beer vinegar, and it just adds another level. It really is really tasty stuff. So I suppose that's something that's fairly new to us, and we're starting to use an awful lot now because it's very tasty.
And finally, we have a coffee parfait with a hot chocolate mousse, some sugared toast, and an olive oil gel.
Sounds good. Well, Dan, it's been good to sort of put 10 minutes on the clock with you today. I'm sure everyone watching this film is going to really enjoy the artwork that we've been able to put together, and hopefully we'll be seeing you again soon.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
Dan.
Cheers. Thank you.